Into the Dead has a lot of cool stuff in it. Let's talk about it. First up, I want to mention some stuff in game, then go on to some other things like the perk system, the Trial of the Dead, and the mission system. One of the things you'll notice when playing is there's a flock of crows always flying ahead of you. Eventually you'll notice them circling around a weapon crate. More than anything, this is a hint to tell you where you should head next, as the crows will lead you towards the next weapon crate. If there is no weapon crate available for a bit, the dog will be waiting to tag along with you. They'll circle around towards a dog's position, providing you don't already have a canine companion from the perk you can activate at the start of the run. Of course, in areas like the forest where the fog is very thick, the crows will disappear into the fog, though once you exit the fog, you'll be able to see them again. Another mechanic to mention is the glancing system. If you run straight into a zombie, you end up tackled into the ground and you're done for. Nothing can happen there. However, if you're just near a zombie to the side, you'll automatically dodge around it, bopping a few feet out of the way. As this happens, your view bobbles with the action, either dodging to the left or the right, depending on which side you are of the zombie. As you do so, the zombie lets out an angered yell, as if disturbed but annoyed that it missed out on a potential meal. Poor zombie. The weird thing with glancing is that sometimes you can slide right through a massive horde, barely just squeezing through what should have been many deaths, but other times you just glance off a zombie and end up running right into one that was just behind it. You can also glance off of trees and some other objects, such as small posts, barrels, and tree stumps. Glancing can be used to your advantage to reach a weapon crate that would be out of reach otherwise, given that turning speed whilst running isn't very good, but the additional distance gained from the diagonal motion of glancing, you can get slightly closer than you would otherwise. This can allow you to get to weapon crates, weapon graves, or a companion pickup just slightly faster than you would have otherwise. Speaking of graves, if you die whilst holding a weapon, then in your next run, you encounter the grave, you can reclaim the weapon. The weapon drop will have the exact same amount of ammo left when you died with it. If playing online, sometimes you can find other people's graves, being able to pick up whatever weapon they were holding. More often than not, these weapons are paid weapons that are better and more unique than the offerings you obtain through the mission system. At the end of the run, you're given an offer for a discount on whatever the weapon was, being a couple of dollar price cut. If you want every weapon, this might be good for you, but if you're not a fan of microtransactions, then you probably won't care, understandably. If you play Into the Dead with friends, you might be able to snag the weapon from your friend's last place, providing someone else didn't grab it first, of course. That aside, let's move on to the perks. Each perk costs 100 coins, keep that in mind. The perk system can be helpful if you want to get just a bit further this run than you did in the last run. For the most part, a lot of perks are the same across the board, minus in the flashlight mode, that is. Both classic mode and hardcore mode share the same perks. Start with a pistol, pretty self-explanatory. You start with the small pistol. The starting pistol is not affected by the ammo increasing perk. Start at 1500 meters. You get a head start to 1500 meters. This looks really funny when it happens just after the crash site cutscene, given you look at all the zombies and then proceed to get the fastest 1500 meter land speed record of any man alive on foot. This can be a helpful little buff either to get a head start and get right into the action of when the zombies start to clump up into groups, or just to finish off some distance missions a little bit faster. 50% more ammo. With this perk active, every weapon you pick up will have 50% more ammo. The pistol will go from 12 ammo to 18, the revolver from 6 ammo to 9, chainsaw from 4 liters to 6, assault rifle from 30 ammo to 45, minigun from 180 ammo to 270, the rifle from 5 to 8, grenades from 2 to 3, the shotgun from 6 to 9, and the SMG will go from 60 ammo to 90. It can help out a lot with drastically affecting some weapons' ammo count, and others it barely just gives an extra shot or two. 40% more crates. You will encounter 40% more crates on average. Overall, this perk can be pretty game changing in the right circumstances, depending on your luck, that is. Going from 0 to 3000 meters, without the perk on, I encountered 6 weapon crates. However, with the perk on, I encountered 8 weapon crates. For the classic and hardcore modes, this can be pretty helpful, but for Massacre mode, it can help a lot with racking up a few extra kills. The last perk for standard and hardcore mode is start with one companion. Self-explanatory, you start off the run with a companion, being one of the dogs you can find throughout the run when the perk isn't active. However, unlike those companions you can find in a run, The one you start off with the perk will stay with you until the end of the run, whereas the companions you find in the run will abandon you after they kill a few zombies. Next up, we have Massacre modes perks. They're all the same as Classic and Hardcore perk, with the unique perk that is. In Massacre you start with a random weapon on default, so the ability to activate the start with a pistol perk here would be kinda useless. It's disabled here, and instead is replaced with the add some barrels perk. When you shoot these explosive barrels, they explode in a similar fashion to grenades, capable of wiping out a nice chunk of zombies at once. Finally, for the roster of perks, there's flashlight modes perks. Some of these are similar to the other modes, whilst others are unique to this mode specifically. The similar perks in flashlight are start with one companion and start at 750 meters instead of 1500 meters. The new perks in flashlight mode, however, are 25% battery boost. Your flashlight's battery will last 25% longer. Dude must have bought the Duracell batteries instead of the no-name batteries. Hoo-hoo. Without this perk active, the flashlight will last until 550 meters, or 34 seconds. With the perk active, the flashlight will last until 710 meters, or about 40 seconds. Not all that much of a difference really. 30% brighter light. This makes your flashlight shine 30% brighter. I can't say this feels like it does all that much. Your peripheral vision with the light on is slightly better, and the zombies approaching are a little more lit up than usual, but overall this doesn't affect the game all that much. 50% more lightning. Lightning will strike at a greater rate than usual. Testing from 0 to 850 meters, the lightning struck 6 times without the perk active. The lightning struck 10 times with the perk active. That's a fairly good difference. To reiterate, each perk costs 100 coins. Coins are earned by playing, completing Trial of the Dead quests, and by completing missions. You can also use coins to buy weapons early, buy special weapons in the store that rotate between a few packs, buy a few cosmetic things, being a zombie theme and also one of the dogs, and also use to skip missions. Something I touched on there was Trial of the Dead. Trial of the Dead is a small event that happens about once a day, give or take. It can appear on any game mode, Classic, Massacre, Hardcore, or Flashlight, being a unique mode to that as such. In Classic, Massacre, and Hardcore, the Trial of the Dead will be a weapon trial, with a slight chance of being a companion trial. In Flashlight mode, the Trial of the Dead will always be a companion trial, given weapons are inaccessible in this mode. When it's a weapon trial, the chances of encountering that weapon is much higher than most others during the run, which is pretty cool. At the end of the trial, you're offered a small discount on the item that you trialed for the event, being a couple of dollar discount, similar to the Graves mechanic where after getting the paid weapon someone else dropped, you get a chance at a small discount on that weapon or item. Overall, this is a neat option if you want to get every weapon and companion, but it's not really all that game changing. Also, if you complete 30 Trials of the Dead, you get Harley as a prize. That's a good doggy. Finally, I'll cover the mission system. Basically, each mission set consists of 3 missions. You can complete them over the course of the game, or simply skip them by using coins. At the end of the mission set, you're granted a small sum of coins. Up until mission set 26, you're granted some new toys, from the chainsaw to the minigun. Unlocking the weapons like this is cool. It adds more incentive onto completing the missions rather than just getting more coins. Though I have to admit, some of the missions can be pretty long and tedious, being more of stretch goals than something you can complete in just a few attempts. Overall, I think that's about every mechanic to mention in Into the Dead. This game's cool, and I really like it. I also like talking about it. It's been fun. I'd cover more on it, but I don't really think there's much else to add. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed. As always, I'll catch you later, mate.